You know, some people write history, but what about the ones who give a nation its voice, its music, its very soul? Today we're talking about one of the few who did it all, the poet, philosopher, and revolutionary Rabindranath Tagore.
And that really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? This isn't just a biography about a man who wrote poems. It's the story of how art can literally forge a nation's identity, how one person could write the anthem for a country that was still finding its feet, giving millions of people a way to dream together.
So, where does a story this big even begin? Well, not in some grand palace or a stuffy political office. Nope. It starts in the bustling city of Kolkata, with a young boy who just saw the world a little differently.
Okay, so let's break down these early years. He was born in 1861, the youngest of 14 children. And get this, he wrote his first poem when he was just 8 years old. 8. By 16, he was already a published author, though he was using a pen name. His whole childhood was just this incredible storm of words and ideas that, as you'll see, set the stage for everything to come.
This right here, this quote, it tells you everything you need to know about him. He absolutely hated formal school. He thought of it as a prison for the mind. For Tagore, real learning didn't happen inside four walls with a teacher droning on. It happened outside, under a tree, by a river. It was all about freedom, the freedom for your imagination to just run wild. And that single idea became the bedrock of his life's work.
But it wasn't all just creativity and philosophy. His art was also forged in real, profound pain. The early death of his wife, Mrinalini Devi, was a devastating blow. He almost never spoke about it, but you can feel that loss haunting his poetry. He somehow managed to take that private, crushing grief and turn it into art that feels universal.
So you have this deeply introspective poet, shaped by love and loss. And now he's about to be dragged onto the national stage. He's going to become this powerful, maybe even reluctant, voice for an entire nation that's struggling to define itself against a powerful empire. All right, picture this. It's 1905. The British Empire decides to split the province of Bengal right down the middle. This was a classic divide and conquer move, and it wasn't just about redrawing a line on a map. Oh no, this was a deliberate attempt to break the spirit of the people. And, as you can imagine, it caused a massive uproar.
And this is where we see Tagore's genius really kick in. How does he respond? Not with angry speeches or political rallies. He responds with poetry in action. He calls for Hindus and Muslims to tie sacred Rakhi threads, a symbol of brotherhood and protection, on each other's wrists. Suddenly, this simple, beautiful act explodes into the Raksha Bandhan movement, a powerful protest that was all about unity, not hate.
Okay, now let's tackle a big one. You've all heard Jana Gana Mana, India's national anthem. For the longest time, there was this controversy, this rumor, that he actually wrote it to praise the British monarch, King George V. So, what's the real story?
Well, Tagore's own answer was pretty blunt. He made it clear that the ruler of the mind he mentions in the song wasn't some foreign king. It was the people themselves, the Jana Gana Mana, the eternal spirit of India. The song was a tribute to the only true masters of India's destiny, its own people.
And you see, this deep belief in freedom and the power of the people, it wasn't just talk. He actually went out and built it. He created a revolutionary kind of school that was the living, breathing embodiment of all his ideals.
In 1901, he founded Shantiniketan, and it was the complete opposite of a regular school. Think about it. Traditional schools meant walls, memorizing books, a mind full of fear. Shantiniketan had no walls, lessons from nature, and its entire goal was to create fearless minds, to build that very place he wrote about, where the mind is without fear.
And this incredible dream just kept getting bigger. By 1921, that little school had grown into a full-on university called Vishva Bharati, and its motto, where the world makes its home in a single nest. I mean, how beautiful is that? This vision of global unity was decades ahead of its time.
So by now, Tagore isn't just a big name in India. The whole world is listening. And this newfound global platform is about to put him on a collision course with the very empire he was defying, setting him up for a massive moral test.
And then comes 1913,
a huge year. For his collection of poems, Gitanjali, which means song offerings, Rabindranath Tagore is awarded the Nobel Prize in Literature. This is a massive deal. He's the very first non-European to ever receive the honor, and it just catapults him onto the world stage.
But just 6 years later, something horrific happens. The Jallianwala Bagh massacre. British troops open fire on a peaceful, unarmed crowd, killing hundreds of people. This brutal act shook the entire nation to its core, and it forced Tagore to make a stand.
So what does he do? In protest, he renounces his knighthood, the honor he had received from the British crown. His message couldn't have been clearer. If my countrymen are treated without dignity, then your honors mean absolutely nothing to me. He was declaring that his allegiance was with his people, not an empire.
And even after covering all of that, we're still just scratching the surface. The final chapter of Tagore's life reveals a creative force that was simply unstoppable, leaving behind an echo that we can still feel today.
I mean, just look at these numbers. He composed over 2,000 songs. He basically created an entire genre of music all by himself. And then, and this part is just wild, after he turned 60, he decided to start painting. And he went on to create over 2,500 paintings. It was just this incredible burst of creativity late in his life. His influence is just staggering. He didn't just write India's national anthem. He also wrote the song that would become the national anthem of Bangladesh. His work even inspired the anthem of Sri Lanka, and his mind was just as far-reaching. He had these deep, recorded conversations with his friend Albert Einstein about the very nature of science in reality. It's mind-blowing.
On August 7, 1941, at 80 years old, Rabindranath Tagore passed away. But his own words here, it's like he knew his work wasn't really over. He believed his voice, his ideas, would just dissolve into the air, becoming a part of everything, immortal.
And that's really the final takeaway, isn't it? Tagore isn't just a person in a history book. He's a living idea. He's a revolution in thought. He is the soul that gave an entire nation its voice. Because of him, in his poems, the sun is always rising. In his songs, a nation's heart is still beating. And in his dreams, a better world is still possible. His stories are immortal. And that's because they aren't just about what happened in the past. They're about how to live. With courage, with creativity, and with a mind that isn't afraid. So that leaves us with one final thought. In a world that's still struggling with division and walls, what part of Tagore's dream do we most need to build today?